Hey everyone, so I get asked a lot on different ways to write copy for emails and stuff like that. And quite honestly, it's one of the probably biggest barriers to entry for our platform is getting set up and writing templates and building sequences and stuff like that. And we're slowly but surely working on that. But what I thought would be helpful in this video is kind of go over sort of the process of writing a cold email. There's other things that I can go over like LinkedIn and stuff like that. I'll save that for some other videos. But this one specifically, I want to kind of walk through some of the elements of writing a cold email. So my name is Patrick Spielman. I'm the founder of Upticks. We help B2B sales teams launch and automate outbound prospecting campaigns, nurture leads, and stay insanely productive with our sales automation platform, Upticks. So let's get into the video here. So for a cold email, there's a few different steps and parts of the cold email. Some things before I get into this little template that I have. And this is part of a little copywriting wizard that I have, which I'll link down below in the description if you want to use it. You can fill it out. It'll help you write like some of these cold emails, some LinkedIn, headlines, about me section, and like 4 different LinkedIn messages, a video prospecting script, and a cold calling script. But I'm going to just specifically focus on this one because although you have access to that tool, I want to at least go over the different parts of the tool and what it's actually generating and the ideas behind it and stuff like that. So with cold email, some things to keep in mind is you don't want to have a lot of links in your email. You want to actually get replies back from your cold emails. I know a lot of people want to insert like Calendly links and a lot of different things. And one of the things you want to do is you want to get responses. You want to get a reply out of people because it actually helps with some of the email client, algorithms and stuff like that and how people are interacting with their emails. So that's one thing to keep in mind. The other thing is you don't want to be overly salesy with your email. You want to keep it short and to the point. We want to talk about benefits. We want to insert a little bit of proof, some case studies, or at least maybe some name dropping here and there. But we want to do it sort of subtly. You don't want to just lead with, hey, I help, all these big companies. You want to kind of save that for a little bit later in your email. And at the end of the day, you got to have a call to action, right? So let's get into the email process. So one of the things I do that I don't typically see, here's version 1 of an email. You've got a subject line here. Pick a subject line that works for you. This prospect first name, quick question is pretty generic. If you can point something out specifically about them and try to get them to actually like pay attention to it, that's always better than just inserting their first name. Everyone's got a first name token reference in their email autoresponder. So it's not that personalized. Obviously, you're probably going to want to scale these a little bit, but you want to get as personalized as you can. So if you can do a little bit of legwork up front, that's going to go a long ways. So this is just a generic subject line. Just pick something that works for you, something that's, a little bit attention grabbing. One of the things I do that I don't see a lot of people do when they cold email, I always like to insert a pleasantry of some sort. And one of the things, if you think about when you pull up your email account and you see your inbox and you see that little preview line after, the initial subject line, and usually you can see a little bit of the text. I like to include this little pleasantry because it looks more one-to-one. So that's one benefit. The other thing is that actually makes you feel human, right? Like obviously you want to hope people are, doing well, business is great, insert something that just looks like you're human and, you're relatable, and something that, when the prospect reads your preview line, that it doesn't look as automated, right? And we want to get into some things later on in the cold email here that, help with that as well. But this is just, it's just a good thing, good practice, I think, to put in your emails. I don't see it happen a lot in cold emailing. So, but we're going to get right into, after that little pleasantry, we're going to get into just telling them the reason why we're contacting them. They obviously know, they probably haven't heard of us in the past, or you in the past. So we want to get right to the point in why we're contacting them, right? So one of the things you want to do here is I've got an insert something specific to them, an article publishing, their website, anything about them, really that, and the more specific you can be, the better. This does take a little bit of legwork, okay? some people do, you can make this a little bit more generic, but don't expect the response rates to be really super high, because the less generic, or the more generic, excuse me, that you are, the less response that you're going to get. So the best case scenario is maybe you just read an article of theirs. You went out to their blog, you found an article that was really valuable, and you referenced that, or you saw that they got published somewhere, or they were referenced in a news article. Something that's really specific to them is really going to grab their attention really, really quick, because it shows them that you actually did a little bit of legwork. Now, it does take legwork to do this stuff. So your best bet is to kind of segment your cold leads into batches, and you want to do research on them. And whether you do it yourself or you hire a VA or something like that, you can store that information into your sales automation tool. Hopefully you're using Upticks, but you can store that into your CRM or automation tool and reference that stuff. And then after you do all your research, you can automate that process. But the more specific, the better, because that first line, right, especially right after, this pleasantry, is going to be the most impactful. Me, I'm, a pretty busy person, and I do not like to see an email that's just a sea of words. And if I do, I'm going to, kind of look and read the first line first, see if it's something that I want to even pay attention to before, I move forward. And if it does look like I want to move forward with reading it, I actually usually skim it. I almost never read the whole thing. I usually skip a big chunk, and then I go to the call to action and see what they're looking to want to do. And usually right above the call to action, you've got benefits and stuff like that, which I'll get to in a second. But you want this first line here to be really, really impactful. Okay, so this is going to be the most work in terms of cold outreach. Then we want to get right into what you do. So okay, you're reaching out about this certain thing. Obviously, they know you're reaching out cold. We want to get into what you do and maybe how you can solve a problem for them. So here we're gonna I specialize in helping, and you want to just insert your target market. If this is SaaS owners, if this is business owners, if this is VP of sales, if this is our restaurant owners, or whoever your target market is, you want to insert that, and you want that to be as relevant to the person that you're sending it to as humanly possible. So if you're prospecting multiple leads, multiple lead types that are in multiple industries, you're really going to want to make sure that you have like industries broken down on their contact profile. And so that when you're inserting this token, it's as relevant as humanly possible to the reader. Again, this is going to help you get the best possible response rate that you can absolutely get. And then we're going to insert what we help them with, right? So the problem that you help them solve. And that's important because obviously you're reaching out cold, you must be offering something. We want to get straight to the point, right? And then from there, you want to transition into the desired result that you get them. So, you service this person and help them with this type of problem. And here's the type of result that you get that for them, okay? And you do it through a unique method that only you do. So you want to insert what we call a proprietary method. So for us, it'd be like Uptick sales automation, right? If you're in the service business, it could be, your XYZ method or strategy or system. You want to name it specifically so that no one else in the world can really copy what you're doing. It's really specific to you. And you're not just the same type of person. If you're an insurance agent, for instance, like you're not just another insurance agent, or you're not just another mortgage broker. You want to separate yourself from the crowd of your competitors. So this proprietary method really helps with that. Then we want to get right into benefits. So, in short, this helps with benefit 1, benefit 2, benefit 3. So you want these to be kind of short and sweet sentences. You don't want them to be one word lines. You want this to be like, for instance, for us, I might say a benefit is to, decrease prospecting time by 50%, increase sales by 32%, acquire customers faster, so you want these to be a few words, but you want them to be as high impact as possible. And you don't want it to be one word answers. Okay. Then we're going to just get right into our call to action. Does this sound like something you'd be interested And if so, would you be open to, and just insert your call to action. If it's, hey, having a meeting, scheduling a Zoom call, grabbing coffee, whatever it might be, you just insert your call to action. I haven't put any sort of social proof in here yet. You've noticed in the email. And there are different methods that you can write a cold email. Some people do put in some social proof in here. Maybe you've got a big following on YouTube. Maybe you have a big, Facebook group. Maybe, you have, a lot of customers, whatever it might be. You could put some social proof somewhere earlier on. In this version of this cold email, I'm being really soft about my social proof. And where I'm putting that is actually down in a PS. There's some people out there that, if I open an email, I don't want somebody to immediately brag that, they've worked with this company, that company, and the other company, unless it's really big companies. The reality is most of you out there don't have a Rolodex of, Google, Facebook, Microsoft, these big companies that everyone knows. So if you're the type of business that's a little bit smaller, small, medium-sized business, but you do have case studies and proof and social proof, all that kind of stuff, testimonials. You want to insert it, but you just don't want it to be front and center, because unless it's a household name, it's not that it's not going to do you good. It's going to do you good to have proof. It's just not going to do you as much good if the person's never heard of them. So if you do have some household names that everybody's heard of, by all means, move some of the fundamentals around in this template, especially if you do have some of those household names. But in this version here, I've got it as a PS. In case you might be wondering about some of our results, the first couple, we're going to insert a contact, one of your customer names and the results you've gotten them. You don't want to just list your customer or your client and leave it at that. You want to actually talk about the results you've gotten them. So, if, I've helped somebody generate an extra $25,000 in monthly revenue, I could say, ABC company, we helped increase their monthly revenue by $25,000. It's that simple. It doesn't have to be anything crazy. You want to put a couple of those in there, 2 or 3. You could do an option where you could insert a testimonial instead of just the short one-liners. So these are short one-liners that you're writing, and this you want to actually take as a customer testimonial, one of your customers that actually wrote you a specific testimonial, and you want to make sure that you put in their name, their title if possible, and their company name. You want it to be as real as humanly possible. You want this to come straight from your customer. So with this is kind of the breakdown of a cold email. There's a lot of different elements in here that are very purposeful, and the reasons why we have them in there. And obviously I went through each one of those. You want to keep these, as short as you possibly can. This cold email looks pretty long just because I've got my tokens in there, but typically, these are, a couple word tokens. So like this is actually a lot shorter of an email. So you want to keep these things shorter and really impactful, respect your prospects' time, and they'll probably respect you back, especially if you do your legwork. And that's probably the biggest thing that I can emphasize. Earlier on in the video, obviously in the beginning, I really talked about, personalizing this as much as possible. And the more personal you get with your emails, the better response. And it's obviously great to use automation, but you have to do the legwork ahead of time before you really deploy it in that automated fashion. So do what you can up front to put in the work to maximize their conversions, and then utilize automation on the background to then help you scale it up. So if you found value in this video, I'd really appreciate you subscribing to our channel. Hit the notification bell so you get alerts on every time I upload a video. I try to do 5 new videos every single week. And if you really like the video, down below, I left you a link. You can get started with Upticks, our sales automation platform, absolutely free. We'd love to hop on a demo with you, help you get your account set up, help you with some foundational copywriting, and get a campaign launch free. So again, hope you found this video helpful, and we'll see you in the next one.